If we bow, please. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this community. We thank you for the people within it. We thank you for the families within it. We thank you for the friends and neighbors. We thank you for people that we've known for decades and folks that we may never meet. We thank you for the opportunity that we have and have had to serve this community. We thank you for the people who serve. We thank you for living in a country where power transitions peacefully by the will of the people. And a gavel can be put down and a gavel can be put up. A chair can be emptied and a chair will be filled. And we ask you be with those people who are emptying those chairs. We ask you be with their families. We ask you to be with the people who are filling those chairs and ask to be with those families. And we ask that you be with all of us in the community, that we all show wisdom, we all show patience, we all show understanding, and we all show love. I ask this in your Son's name. Amen.
Amen. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Let me see. Can I get a motion to accept the agenda? Moved by Skidmore, seconded by Waters. All in favor of accepting the agenda, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Show that pass unanimously. Next up, we have meeting minutes, the approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of November 10th. Motion to approve by Ames, seconded by Cunningham. Any deletions, revisions, additions? Seeing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Show that pass unanimously. My last venture at citizens' comments tonight. Good news is, citizens' comments is now over. No one's on the agenda. Got a couple of presentations tonight. We've got one presentation tonight. Joseph is not here. Alderman Ames, would you meet me at the podium, please, sir? As you guys know, Mr. Ames has been here for a while. He's been a great member of this team. Mr. Ames is leaving office. I think he may still hold his chair as Assistant Secretary of the Planning Commission for a minute. 1 minute.
1 minute. This is a proclamation of the mayor on behalf of the Board of Mayor and Aldermen. Whereas Don Ames was elected alderman in 2012 to represent the citizens of Ward 4. And whereas Don Ames has served as a member of the Public Safety, the Urban Deer Herd, and the Monitoring Committees, and the Planning Commission. Now therefore, I, Scott Foster, Mayor of the City of Hendersonville, by the virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor, and on behalf of this entire board of mayor and aldermen, do formally proclaim our gratitude and appreciation to him, and I urge all citizens of Hendersonville to join with us in honoring Don Ames for his dedicated service to all the residents of this community. Thank you, Don. Don, did you want to say anything? Hey, Don, did you want to say thank you to anybody? Like maybe your wife and family? I'll come back.
Well, it was hard enough walking this way. Now I had to do it twice. I do appreciate my wife, my daughter who's sitting back there, the rest of the family. I enjoyed working on the Board of Mayor and Aldermen and all the other committees involved in, along with that, the Planning Commission and so forth. And I'm going to stick around and do whatever I can to get under Jamie's skin. Thank you all very much.
What a tremendous honor for me to get to read the proclamation honoring Scott Foster for his years of service on this board as an alderman first and then as mayor for the last 12 years. As you know, Scott is the longest serving mayor in the history of the city of Hendersonville. To say how far we've come under your leadership, it's hard to quantify how much the city has grown under your leadership and the debt that we owe you, and how proud we all are of your skills and ability, the way you have hired and managed your people, stressing higher education and certifications and degrees among the employees of the city. I know I speak for the employees of City Hall who enjoy working with you. I speak for this board and for the boards since way back in 2000 when you first came in as an alderman that have worked with you, Scott. It has been an absolute pleasure. I speak for everyone when we just say thank you for your service to Hendersonville. And I'm going to read this proclamation to you. Whereas Scott Foster was elected alderman in 2000 to represent the citizens of Ward 1 and elected mayor in 2004, 2008, and 2012. And whereas Scott Foster has served as a member of the Public Safety, Finance Process Review, and Town Center Redevelopment Committees as a liaison to the Municipal Board of Zoning Appeals, the Industrial Development Board, and as the city's representative to the Sumner County Resource Authority. And whereas Scott Foster, as mayor, was a member and served as chairman of the Greater Nashville Regional Council, was a member of the Metropolitan Planning Organization and the Regional Transportation Authority. Now therefore I, Matthew Stamper, Vice Mayor of the City of Hendersonville, by the virtue of the authority vested in me as Vice Mayor, and on behalf of the entire Board of Mayor and Aldermen, and on behalf of the City of Hendersonville, to formally proclaim our gratitude and appreciation to him, and urge all citizens of Hendersonville to join with us in honoring Scott Foster for his dedicated service to all the residents of this community, and to wish him well in his future endeavors.
The Vice Mayor tells me this is my last shot at the microphone. So first of all, I've got a lot of people to thank. The people in this room, thank you. Thank you for letting me serve for 3 terms. Thank you to this board, and thank you to the last 4 boards that served with me. We've gotten a lot accomplished since 2000. I've got to thank my wife and my family, who never signed up to be the mayor's wife, to be under the intense focus of Facebook, Twitter, and all of those types of things. You don't realize what thick skin your family has to have to back you and support you when almost every decision you make makes about half the people mad. But I do give great thanks. Thank you to this board specifically. Thank you to the folks in this room. Thanks to my wife, who's here somewhere, and my mother. Again, they didn't sign up for 16 years of public service, but they've been through it. Wow, what a great time I've had this week. I've got to spend some time with your soon-to-be mayor, Mayor Clary. We spent some good time together. He attended our staff meeting this morning. He's getting his wheels on. He'll be rolling pretty rapidly. And it'll be rolling rapidly because of the team here at City Hall. The team here at City Hall, I did not think yet. And we have about 400 employees here at City Hall. And I'll put those 400 employees and our 8 or 10 department heads up against any city on the planet. The mayor doesn't make things work, Jamie. You have to lead. But the experts here in this City Hall do yeoman's work. And I want to thank them. The cute blonde sitting in the middle of the table up there, Miss Kay. if you really want to know who runs the city, you need to get to know Miss Kay. Mr. Bradley, who in about 3 months will have 30 years of service as legal counsel. I can't tell you how invaluable he is. But I do want you to know this city's on a great trajectory. If you've not noticed, we're climbing steadily. The trajectory is really unknown as of yet. Jamie gets to pick the ball up and carry it to that next level with the help of the team here at City Hall. Jamie, lean on the team, brother. Lean on the team. Thank you guys for allowing me to serve. I love our city by the lake. I love it. Our best days are yet to come. Thank you.
Judge Lincoln, would you come?
I assume you just want me to come to the podium since the mayor didn't recognize me.
Yes, that's right. Just go to the podium.
You can bring them all out here with you, and you brought your own Bible. I didn't have to swipe one this time. Congratulations, by the way, before we get started.
Tell me what to do.
Well, just repeat after me.
Okay.
And the other thing everybody here needs to know is the rule in the city court applies here. If your phone goes off, it's a $10 a ring fine.
All right, there we go. Okay, good.
All right. Yeah, my guess is you can get that absolved. All right, repeat after me. I, Jamie Clary,
I, Jamie Clary,
do hereby swear
do hereby swear
that I have all the qualifications for the office of mayor,
that I have all the qualifications for the office of mayor,
to which I was elected under the mayor-aldermanic government for the city of Hendersonville, Tennessee,
to which I was elected under the mayor-aldermanic government for the city of Hendersonville, Tennessee,
the state of Tennessee,
the state of Tennessee,
the mayor-aldermanic charter,
the mayor-aldermanic charter,
the laws and duly enacted ordinances of the city of Hendersonville,
and the laws and the duly enacted ordinances of the city of Hendersonville,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of this office, so help me God.
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of this office, so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
One thing Jamie did not get trained on was the microphone system, so bear with me.
I'll sign them in. Are we ready for the alderman?
Okay. Can we have the aldermen that are about to be sworn in come on up, please, and meet with Judge Lincoln? Okay. Do I need to turn it off? Absolutely, families as well. Do I need to turn it off when he's done, or just? I would. Okay.
Because then you're ready to call for the report of the committee.
Okay.
Anybody that didn't bring a Bible that needs one, I got one.
Do I have, when's a good time for me to say, to speak for 30 seconds?
I would say the new board and do it before the report.
Yeah. Before we start, I want you to know that the last time I did this, when I said repeat after me and said I, my name, y'all all said I, my name. This time you need to say your name. If you raise your right hand. All right. I, and your name, do hereby swear
that I have all the qualifications for the oath of alderman of the ward for which I was elected under the mayor automatic government for the city of Hendersonville, Tennessee. And I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the state of Tennessee, the mayor automatic charter, and the laws and duly enacted ordinances of the city of Hendersonville. And that I will faithfully discharge the duties of this office, so help me God. Congratulations.
If y'all would like to come take your seats. Okay. Congratulations to our new alderman, and thank you, so many people here tonight. A couple people I certainly want to point out. Mayor Foster, you have been a tremendous help. I appreciate what you've done for the city. I appreciate what you've done for me and my wife the past couple days. And I think the city should appreciate what you've done, very much so. We have a couple other folks here. Nancy Thompson is here, and that is wonderful. And Janice Gray is here, and that is wonderful. Nancy, the wife of former Mayor Hank Thompson, and Janice, the former wife of Mayor Monty Davis. I very much appreciate you all being here. Thank you to my mom and dad who brought me here and have more to do with this night than anybody here, including me. Yeah. And my wife and my children. You're going to see a lot more of them than you ever imagined that you really wanted to. And it's wonderful to have them here, to have their support for such a long time. I want to tell you a story real quick. Talking about former mayors. Dink Newman was our first mayor. And in researching my book on the history of Hendersonville, I saw something that Dink said facing an awful lot of obstacles for the city. At the time, Dink was being sued by the city of Gallatin, the city of Goodlettsville, the county, and the Hendersonville Utility District. And Dink looked ahead and he said, we can overcome these hurdles if we all pull together. Well, 25 years later, Hank Thompson, when the city was half this size and had a lot of growing pains, he said, we can all overcome these challenges if we all just push together. Now I'm researching this for this book and I'm thinking, so if I'm looking for advice on being a leader, do we push together or do we pull together? And I realized what was important. It wasn't the push or wasn't the pull, it was the together. That's what we need. We need to be together. I need your help. I want your help, and I want us to do it together. And I look forward to it, and I look forward to working with everybody. As we do that, this is very important to me, that we look at the book of Micah, that among the most important responsibilities we have, it is to seek justice, to love kindness, and to walk humbly. Thank you all for being here. Next on the agenda and reports, we have a report from the Committee on Committees. I believe, Mr. Stamper, you're the chairman?
Thank you, Mayor. I have a report from the Committee on Committees. We met last Tuesday night to place all of the aldermen on the various committees, and I come with a recommendation from that committee. Finance Committee, Arlene Cunningham, Angie Hedberg, Matt Stamper. General Committee, Andy Gilley, Scott Sprouse, Darrell Woodcock. Public Safety Committee, Steve Brown, Ham Frost, Peg Petrelli. And the Public Works Committee, Pat Campbell, Mark Skidmore, and Jim Waters.
We have a motion to accept the report from the Committee on Committees. Do I have a second? Second. Hold on one second here. Okay. Yes, Mr. Waters, excuse me one second here.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I will exercise my seniority privilege and change my committee preference from Public Works Committee to the General Committee by replacing Alderman Gilley. And Mr. Chairman, I so move.
Do we have a second to that amendment? Second. I'm sorry? We have a second from Mr. Campbell. Thank you.
Mayor?
We have some discussion. Let me turn you on here just a second here. There we go. Alderman Sprouse.
I think it's only fair, particularly since we have two members of this board who are extremely senior and are not able to be here tonight, but we're in a room. We can only discuss these things in public meetings, but we're in the committee room, at which point everyone got their first choice and was happy. That I think that if another member is changing the choice of what's been presented at that time, I think we should defer that vote until all members of this board can be present, especially to respect the seniority of the two members who may also wish to make a change.
Thank you, Mr. Sprouse. Do I hear a second?
Second.
From? Okay. From Mr. Stamper? We don't discuss this. It's non-debatable. Okay. Mr. Skidmore, I'm going to have to come back to you. This is non-debatable. We have a motion to defer. We're going to have to call the question. And we'll do it roll call. Okay. Do we need two-thirds? Okay. We need a two-thirds vote to defer, which is, how many votes? Which is 8 votes.
Mayor, just a point of clarification. I
Please.
need to ask the city attorney something, if that's okay.
Please.
And that,
Oh. I'm sorry. Go ahead. You should be back on. There we go. Mark, go
okay,
ahead.
thank you very much. Just a point of a clarification I want, and then you can take me out of the queue for after this, because that was what I was going to ask.
Thank you.
Mayor, aren't we by statute supposed to do this tonight, or in the city ordinance that that it says that we are supposed to vote on this on the night that we swear in everyone, or is there any leeway that we're allowed to do this, that we can defer?
If two-thirds of the members of this board want to defer it, I think that certainly is appropriate.
All right, so, okay, thank you for that question, but I just want to make sure that what the statute says, that we are actually supposed to do this tonight, but that's
It's
what
an
the ordinance says.
Yes, there is an ordinance
That says
it
that,
happens
okay.
after the swearing in.
Thank you, all right, thank you.
Alderman Waters, this could just be a question on the process. We don't have discussion on this.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to refer to Resolution 1987-32.
Mr. Waters, this is non-debatable. I hate to do this to you.
I mentioned my colleague's question down in Ward 1.
I feel like it's been answered by our city attorney.
Okay.
If we dispose of this and we're still have this on tonight's agenda, we'll come back to you. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, we need to have a roll call vote. This is on the motion to defer. Motion to defer motion to defer. Yes. Okay.
I think by statute we're supposed to.
Yes.
Cunningham?
No.
Hedberg?
No.
Gilly?
No.
Petrelli?
No.
Skidmore?
No.
Sprouse?
Yes.
Stamper?
Yes.
Waters?
No.
Woodcock? Clary?
No. We are now back on the amendment for the change that Mr. Waters proposed. Mr. Waters, would you like to speak? Okay, Mr. Stamper.
Thank you, Mayor.
This is obviously surprising because we did meet on this after a week of everyone getting their opportunity to sit on the committee that they desired to serve on, which I believe should be a driving force in our decisions about what committee that we feel we best serve the city in. With one of our new aldermen just sworn in, and now with the potential to be on another committee, I would like to hear from that alderman, Mayor, but it's of course his right to speak or not speak about his thoughts on this matter. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Stamper. Alderman Sprouse?
Thank you. It's very, very unfortunate that our most senior member in an issue of seniority is being disrespected, and that's Mr. Frost. and then a very senior member, because of surgery he had yesterday not being able to be here, his choice in seniority is being disrespected. I think it sets a very, very poor example of the spirit of unity that Mayor Clary asked for this board, for I think pretty much every one of us, well, first, every one of us to fill out a form saying what our first choice and our second choice is. The committee meet, and I think pretty much every member of the board was in that room and was asked, is this your first choice? And everyone made a decision together. Now, I understand that some elections did not go the way that Mr. Waters likes them to go. But I think, I apologize for mentioning that, but here's what I'm going to ask. Since the Committee on Committees meeting and that recommendation came out, I feel that this very political move has been driven and aided by deliberation by elected officials outside of public meeting. I think for that alone, we should be enough that we should sit there and say, hold on a second, what are we going to do? Because if one of us had a discussion with another about this issue, about what we're getting ready to vote on, then it's going to be thrown, it could be thrown out. Now, I think that if we want to really act in the spirit, in motion, and the attitude that was prescribed and requested by our new mayor and by other members of the board, that we throw the political games out and we approve, it only takes a simple majority, we approve the recommendation of the Committee on Committees. If we cannot do that, I wish that we could ask that committee to convene so all members of this board could be treated equally and fairly, and those discussions could happen in sunshine and not in violation of state law. Thank you.
Alderman Strauss, I appreciate that. Alderman Campbell.
Yes, I'd like to withdraw my second, please.
We need a second on the amendment by Alderman Waters.
Yes.
Alderman Waters made a...
I withdrew my second.
Yes, Alderman Campbell withdrew his second, so we need a second on the motion by Alderman Waters to amend this item. Do we have a second on Alderman Waters' motion?
I will advise that should this stand, that I think it's going to open up the floodgates and we'll have a lot of changes. I'll be the next one to make a request.
Alderman Waters made a motion to amend the Committee on Committees report by changing himself for another alderman, Alderman Gilly. And the second has been withdrawn. Would somebody else like to offer a second on that? That's where we are.
Or we just vote on the motion.
Vote on the original.
I mean, I want to talk about this for a minute. I mean,
Okay, right now we...
so
okay, I got
I'll
you.
second it
Okay.
for discussion.
Okay,
I mean,
okay.
Jamie, if I can.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Let me-
I wasn't expecting this tonight, folks, at all. But I appreciate Alderman Waters, what he wants to do. I mean, he's newly elected in his district by a large margin.
I shouldn't let him speak.
I'm going to miss Alderman Waters. He's been my left and right both before Pat came to our committee. He helped me do everything in that committee. But when we discuss, I mean, he has that right because he's a senior member. I mean, and as you all well know, I'm a stickler for the rules. And he does have the right if he wants to change. I mean, I didn't know this was coming tonight. No one's talked to me about it. There's no been breaking the sunshine law to me. Of course, I'd be the last one to know in City Hall anyway, from some of the positions that I take up here. But if by the rule, Alderman Waters can change his mind. And if he decides that he wants to do that, Alderman Brown and Alderman Frost knew we were having the meeting tonight. That was discussed the night, the previous meeting. I know that Alderman Brown has having surgery, and I think Alderman Frost is at a concert in Nashville. So, we can't stop Alderman Brown from certainly having surgery because it was important, and I hope his back gets better. But Alderman Frost had every opportunity to come tonight, and if he felt so inclined, he would have been here. I think he was comfortable. I think everybody's comfortable and those senior members are just as senior as I am, and they know that they have that right if they wanted, any alderman up here wanted to change their committee assignment, I guess they can. I mean, I don't necessarily like Alderman Waters leaving our committee because he's a very good alderman. He's very good in public works, and I'm sure Pat can attest to that as too. But if he wants to do that, he is the senior member, and there's a member that has just gotten elected and wants to be in that committee. I don't see how we would afford the right to force Mr. Waters out of what he chooses. He just got elected again. So that's my only comment to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen. That's something that I guess this board's going to have to decide whether seniority, under our rules up here that govern this board on what we do. Thank you, Jamie, or Mayor.
Alderman Skidmore, I appreciate your comments.
Thank you.
Alderman Gilly.
Thank you. My full plan was to sit here and not say a word tonight, and I have complete respect for Mr. Waters, and having a parent that lives in Ward 6, am amazed at the work that's been done there, a large part due to him being on the Public Works Committee, which surprised me why he would want to switch tonight and not really follow through with Public Works on that, on all those things going on. And Mr. Sprouse is exactly right. Out of complete respect for everybody sitting up here is a major reason why I chose the General Committee, because it seemed like that would be an easy fit and an opening. So I am willing to go wherever the team needs me, so to speak. I guess I'll probably use coaching analogies all the time, but would it be my choice to move from General to Public Works? In this case, no, personally, and for the best for the city, no, I don't think that's the right move. Just my opinion, and I do feel like we all left that room with a spirit of consensus and everybody with plenty of opportunity to change where they were. So that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Gilly, I appreciate your comments. Alderman Woodcock.
Thank you. We have a room full of people who are here to celebrate and not necessarily sit through an actual meeting. So I'll try to be brief. I definitely get the respect to Alderman Frost and Brown. However, they're not on either committee that this would affect. So I don't think that's a valid reason. I want to say I would love to work with Alderman Waters, but I'm afraid that I would insinuate that I somehow broke sunshine laws by thinking that'd be a good idea. As Alderman Skidmore said, Waters has seniority. It sounds like Gilly, being the team player that he is, would be happy on either one, though he would prefer General. I would like to call it a question and get this simple vote over with. It seems like a pretty easy swap to me.
Alderman Woodcock, I appreciate your comments. We have Alderman Waters in the queue, and now we have two other ones. So unless you want us to take a vote on that, we're going to go ahead and take a vote on the question.
I would call the question.
Which we needed 2/3.
We've always let people that were in the queue go ahead and
Let's go to Alderman Waters.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
you.
I didn't realize I was going to open up a keg of worms here tonight. I certainly take offense to my colleague in Ward 2 referring to me maybe breaking the sunshine law. The only sunshine law I broke was me and my wife when we talked about it several days ago. Yes, the committee-owned committee, we did meet like 10 days, 2 weeks ago. And I did put down number 1, Public Works, number 2, General. I echo what Alderman Giddy just said. Starting out new on the Public Works, maybe he feels like it's more than he wants to encounter at this time. It is hard. I don't regret one day being on the Public Works Committee. I love it. I love working with Alderman Skidmore and Alderman Campbell. But that's not the reason I'm changing my mind to go to another committee. I think I need to explore other avenues that's presented to each one of us on this board. Yes, I can stay on Public Works as long as I'm elected official from Ward 6, but that's not my desire right now. I want to go to other committees and work with them. I think if we look at the resolution I just mentioned before I was asked not to read it, it says, "The committee on committee report their recommendations to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen at their first meeting of that board following the city election and after the swearing in of a newly elected alderman." That's what we've done tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We've followed the resolution. I've decided I want to change to another committee. I think I have that right. I have no hard feelings about Public Works. I've always given it 100%, and I want to give 100% to another committee, and that's why I asked to be moved to General Committee. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Alderman Waters, thank you for your input. Alderman Campbell.
I would prefer for it to be deferred because Hamilton and Brown are not here tonight due to standing commitments prior to this meeting being moved from its original night. That's why, because as a senior alderman, they do have the right to, there's an opening in general, then they can jump over there and say, well, I might want to move, or Public Works, I could move over there if they wanted to at that point. After it went to Committee on Committees, I was out of town, I did not attend the Committee on Committee meeting. I was in Chicago visiting our daughter, and so I just knew the Committee on Committee would move right on and take care of itself. Now we're here and having a nice little debate for everyone. So I'd just prefer for it to be deferred, for a full board to be here and have a vote taken at that time. And however, it'll settle when it settles. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Campbell. Alderman Sprouse, and I feel like we need to take a vote after this.
Okay. Just so the folks in the room understand what the process, what we're discussing is, we're discussing the members, there are 4 standing committees, 3 aldermen serve on each of those committees. We review and make recommendations about legislation before it comes to this board. There's 2 guidelines on making recommendations for who sits on which committee. The first does not deal with seniority. I call it squatters' rights. If you're already on a committee, it does not matter if you've been on the board for 2 months and someone else has been there for 20 years. If you're already on that committee, you are given the respect and the opportunity to stay on that committee, no matter who else wants that. And then, should a vacancy occur because a sitting committee member is either not reelected as an alderman or decides that that alderman does not want to serve on that committee, they can move to another committee opening up a vacancy. When Committee on Committees met, Mr. Campbell had indicated in writing to the city recorder. The other 2 members of the Public Works Committee indicated in writing to the city recorder prior to the meeting and all members of the board their intention to stay on Public Works. The 2 members who were present, including the junior alderman from Ward 6, then when asked in Committee on Committees, does he want to stay on Public Works, he said yes. We already knew what Mr. Campbell wanted. We already knew what the chairman of the committee wanted. The chairman of the committee said yes as well. Had if any of those 3 people had said, I don't want to stay on Public Works, any other member of the board, now based upon their seniority, would have said, I would like to take that vacancy. By doing it this way, by waiting until the people you want in the room are in the room, and the people you don't want in the room, who were duly elected by the neighbors in their ward, just like I was elected, just like we were all elected, disrespects them, disrespects the process, disrespects this board, and disrespects the people who elect the members of this board. Mr. Campbell said, it may not have been very clear, but this is not our normal meeting night. Last month, we changed the night we meet. If everything was in order, we would have met last Tuesday night. We always meet on the 2nd and the 4th Tuesday nights. Now, for 2 long members of the board, one for health reasons and one for a family member, to say I'm not going to be there, especially when they know everything is in order and everything seems to be very cooperative, but to wait for them to be there because you don't want their voice at the table, and when it's their voice, it's the voice of the 8,000 people that they represent, I think absolutely destroys the idea of open government, representative government, and any idea of cooperation that any member of this board may wish to have, should they make this motion or should they support this motion. Now, there are a couple ways we could get out of this. Someone who seconded the motion could withdraw the motion and no one else make a second. and we move on, or we can start the world's biggest and longest game of musical chairs as vacancies start to pop up as members shuffle around. And then someone's going to have to turn and go to 2 members of this board, 1/6 of the aldermen, and say, sorry, we had one of the biggest decisions for organization of our government for the next 2 years, and you had no voice when it was going on. I ask in the spirit of cooperation that we either vote against this or we defer it, and we put the political games aside. The people who were elected, they made decisions, they made preferences known, they respected the process, and I think we should do the same. Thank you.
First, we need to vote on a call, to call the question. That was from Alderman Woodcock. That requires a 2/3 vote to cut off discussion. I'd like to take a voice vote on this. All in favor of calling the question, say aye. Aye. All in favor, all opposed, say no. Okay, it's unanimous to call the question. We now need to vote on the amendment that Mr. Waters offered in that amendment.
We're back to the main motion.
No,
The amendment to the motion. The amendment that I seconded. Out of an abundance of precaution, I think we need to take a step back. We've got a new mayor under new leadership.
Alderman Skidmore,
I'm going to take back my second.
we just had a unanimous vote to call the question.
You just removed the second.
That's what I'm telling
You
you.
are removing your second for the amendment.
Right.
Okay. We have a motion from Alderman Waters to change the composition of 2 committees. That is for Alderman Waters to go to the General Committee and Alderman Gilley to go to the Public Works Committee. Right now, that motion does not have a second. Would anybody like to second that motion? That motion dies for lack of a second. Now we're back to the report on the Committee on Committees.
Call the question.
Hold on a second. Alderman Skidmore, are you in the queue from earlier, or do I need to come back to you?
You can cut me out.
Gotcha. I have a request from Alderman Woodcock, who's in the queue now.
Since it seems like defer is what the majority would like, I offer that amendment so that the 2 aldermen who are not here, who is so important for them to be here, have a chance to voice their opinion.
Do we have a second on that? That's Alderman Campbell. Again, we need a 2/3 vote on this. All in favor of deferring this until Alderman Woodcock, till our next regular scheduled meeting? Is that?
Yes.
Okay. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. I heard that as unanimous. We have deferred this until our next regular scheduled meeting. We're on to other agenda items. And that is the appointment of a planning commission member. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Alderman Stamper.
I'd like to, are we taking nominations?
Yes.
Oh, okay, I'm out. Sorry.
Okay. Alderman Sprouse.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to place in nomination a person who has served this board ably in her short tenure on this board. I told people when they asked me opinions before the election, I said you would walk into this room and you would not know that Peg Petrelli was the rookie. She has served very well this board once we appointed her, and I have no doubt she will continue to serve well after being overwhelmingly elected by the people of her ward for the remainder of the term. That puts her in a unique situation in that she has both been endorsed by this board previously and overwhelmingly by her constituents, something none of us can say. She also has professional background in architectural and construction management, which will serve her very well in the highly detailed, highly intricate discussions that happen on the Planning Commission. And as a previous member, and I guess until we make some change, member of the General Committee, she has handled planning issues and those discussions in committee before they came to the board. And I'd like to nominate for those reasons Peg Petrelli.
Thank you, Alderman Sprouse. Thank you, Alderman Cunningham. Do I hear other nominations?
Mayor, I'd like to have nominations cease and have my colleague, Alderwoman Petrelli, be elected by acclamation.
Thank you, Alderman Skidmore. Do I have a second for that?
Second.
Okay. we need to take a vote on. Okay. All in favor of that motion to elect Alderman Petrelli to appoint Alderman Petrelli by acclamation to be our representative on the Planning Commission, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Move to adjourn.
Thank you. Thank you all very much for tonight. Thank you all for being here, and look forward to working with all of you. Have a good night. Thank you.